We don't spend hours swiping on our phones purely out of necessity. That endless scrolling is the result of a carefully designed system built to trigger automatic reflexes before we even realize we're doing it. Industry insiders estimate we interact with our screens around 150 times a day. We reach for our devices the moment we wake up, when we're waiting in line, or the second we feel a pang of loneliness. In the tech industry, products generally fall into one of two categories. They are either a vitamin, something nice to have but entirely optional, or a painkiller, providing immediate relief to an itch you desperately need to scratch. This graph illustrates how a product becomes a painkiller by crossing into the habit zone. For a behavior to become a default, zombie-like response, it requires a specific combination. You have to perceive the tool as useful and use it with high frequency. If we ignore the architecture controlling our screen time, we remain trapped in it. But by examining the exact blueprints designers use to capture our attention, we map a way out. This diagram shows the hook model, the core framework companies use to manufacture habits. Notice it's not a linear funnel where users eventually drop out. It's a continuous loop designed to accelerate with every single pass. The cycle starts here with the trigger. It usually begins with a push notification, but the true objective is to permanently link the product to an internal trigger. The most effective internal triggers are negative emotions, a sudden wave of boredom, or the fear of missing out. Once that internal itch is felt, the user moves to the action phase. Behavioral psychology dictates that this step has to be the simplest possible behavior taken in anticipation of a reward. This explains why companies relentlessly wage war on friction. They build one-click logins and implement endless scrolling to ensure absolutely nothing stands between you and the action you're prompted to take. A fleeting moment of boredom and an easy button get someone through the front door. But those two elements alone aren't strong enough to trap a user in a long-term routine. That requires the variable reward phase. When we study the brain's dopamine system, we find something counterintuitive. The brain actually releases the highest spikes of dopamine when we are anticipating a reward, rather than when we receive it. If a feedback loop is completely predictable, like a fridge light turning on when you open the door, you don't obsess over it. But when you introduce random, intermittent payouts, like pulling the lever on a slot machine, the uncertainty manufactures intense craving. Technology exploits three specific types of variable rewards. Rewards of the tribe, satisfying our need for social connection, rewards of the hunt, driven by the pursuit of information, and rewards of the self, which tap into our desire for mastery. Layering this unpredictability into an app creates a hyper-focused state. It actively suppresses the areas of the brain responsible for judgment and reason, handing control directly over to our raw desires. The final stage is the investment phase. After making the action phase as easy as possible, the system reverses course. Here, the product intentionally asks the user to put a little bit of work into the platform. Investing your time, data, or social capital stores value in the product. The app learns your preferences and gets better the more you use it. This small investment is designed to directly load the next trigger. We can watch this four-step machine run in real time. Imagine receiving an email from Pinterest. That's the external trigger. It hits just as they happen to be feeling a mild wave of boredom, the internal trigger. They take the simple action of clicking the link. Immediately, they are hit with the variable reward of the hunt, scrolling through an unpredictable feed of visually stimulating images. Then comes the investment phase. The user pins an image they like. That stores value by curating their personal board, but it also sends a notification to a friend. That notification acts as a brand new external trigger for someone else. By completing that final step, the user keeps the corporate flywheel spinning. They have unwittingly become the architect of their own compulsion, doing the work to pull themselves and their friends back in, without the company spending a single dime on marketing. Seeing this blueprint laid out raises an obvious ethical question. Is the hook model a playbook for mind control, designed to manufacture modern addictions? We have to draw a strict line between a habit and an addiction. Addictions are compulsive, self-destructive dependencies. Habits are simply automatic behaviors. They can be incredibly healthy if aligned with our actual goals. This matrix evaluates behavioral design ethics. If creators build products that genuinely improve users' lives and actively use them, they operate in the top right corner. They are a facilitator, helping people do what they already want to do. We often blame ourselves for wasting hours staring at a screen, feeling guilty about our lack of willpower. But once you see the mechanics of choice architecture, you realize you are up against a highly calibrated machine. Understanding the invisible framework of attention gives you a profound advantage. It allows you to use these systems to engineer your own positive routines, and it builds the psychological immune system required to recognize and permanently cut the strings that no longer serve you.